Okay. We're a couple minutes early, so if anybody's out there and can let me know if you can hear me, that would be great. If the microphone's working. So just give me a heads up if you can hear. We're going to wait a second to start. But those of us here start to sit comfortably. If you're up on a blanket, if that helps your hips, be sure to use a blanket or two. Get comfortable if you can. Let yourself release here. So anybody who's watching, if you can tell me if you can hear or not, we're just getting ready to begin. So if you can say hearing fine, anything that lets me know, otherwise I'll just keep on going and just hope that you can hear. So close your eyes and get yourself comfortable how you have your hands. Move your hands around even a little bit, like up and down your thighs maybe a little bit, so you can release to feel really open across your chest, right? And your shoulders just releasing down away from your ears. And as you reach up through the crown of your head, feel a sense of space all through your spine here now. As you start to breathe in and out through your nose, see if you can, as you gently close your eyes, imagine you're breathing equally in and out through both sides of your nose. And let your breath come into the belly, feeling the belly rise and expand as you inhale. And if you're comfortable to come in towards those 3-part breaths, inhaling into the belly, into the ribs, all the way up into the chest. And on your exhales, imagine the breath coming out of the chest first, and then the ribs, and then the belly. And let's let our hands come on out beside us here now. So if you're on the floor, fingertips can lightly touch the floor here. And we'll inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And exhale the hands right down through the midline to come in front of your chest. And let's reverse and inhale the hands right up through the midline. And on the exhale, open the arms on back out and down like wings. And let's inhale the hands straight out from our shoulders. Flex your hands. And as you do, let your chin come down a little bit. Release your head forward. Let yourself press gently out into the heels of your hands. And then rise your gaze on back forward and let the fingertips face down here now so you feel more the tops of your arms there. And then loose fists with your hands. Start to circle your hands around so you come into your wrists a little bit here. Just nice, loose, easy fists. And then stop and reverse and go the other way with those circles. And then release, arms on down beside you. Let's bring our hands behind us. Now, if you're in your chair, you can just lean back and let yourself be supported by the back of the chair. If you're on the floor, fingertips can touch the floor, or you can go flat to your hands. But just let yourself enjoy opening through the front of the body here. Good. And then we'll release to come on back up. Let's stretch our legs out for a second. So whether you're in your chair or on the floor, stretch your legs out. And then just point your feet and then flex your feet so that you come into now releasing into the ankles, but also the fronts and the backs of your legs. So flexing and pointing a few times. And then stay there. Now, if you're on the floor, leave your right leg down long. We're going to put our right foot on the floor from our chair, and we're going to cross our ankle, either left ankle above or below your knee. So if you're on the floor, come lower if you need to. And we're going to make our way a little bit forward here. So, don't force anything. Wake up the hip there. You're welcome to press your foot into your hand. So take your time. Let yourself release forward just a little bit. Thank you for telling me the sound was good out there. Easy breaths here. Keep that length of the spine. And then we'll rise to come on back up. Take a nice inhale here. Now, as we exhale, we're going to twist to our left. If you can, let your right hand come to your left knee. If that's too far around, don't go that far. And just enjoy now. Feel your sit bones reaching down into the surface you're on. And now on your next inhale, let your back arm, your left arm rise up. And then we're going to lean over a little bit to the right, coming into a side stretch here. So keep flexing that left foot. Let yourself release into breathing into the left ribs a little bit here. And then we'll rise on back up, lower that arm down into the twist again. Maybe even twist a little bit further if you can. One more breath. And then use your belly to bring you on back around into center. And we are going to switch legs here. So take your time. Coming into, again, leg can be lower. You can bring your ankle below your knee if you're on the floor. Flex through that right foot. Come forward a little bit. Press the ball of the foot into your left hand if you can, which engages you a little deeper into the hip there. And, of course, if you're on the floor, you're going to feel it more in the left hamstring, the back of that left leg as well. Good. One more breath here. And then as we slowly rise on up, inhale here at the top. And on the exhale, we're going to twist. Left hand comes around. Again, if you can get to that right knee, do, but don't force it. Lengthen upward through the crown of your head. Feel that sense of being very even between your sitting bones there. On the next inhale, we'll rise the right arm up, that back arm up, and we're going to lean over to the left a little bit. So let yourself release here into the right ribs, breathing into that side. Good. One more breath. And then we'll rise back up. And again, arm comes down, and if you want to go a little bit more into that twist, do maybe even looking a little further behind yourself. One more inhale. And let your exhale bring you back around into center. And uncross your legs here. Stretch them out again for a little bit. Move through your feet and your ankles again. You can do little windshield wiper blades. You can do little bounces. If you're on the ground, you can bounce your legs up and down a little bit. Good. And then let's come on back. Sit how, if you were cross-legged, try to sit the opposite of how you started. Bring your other leg in front. And we'll bring our arms on out beside us here now. Turn your palms up. Think about really drawing your pinkies forward. Let your shoulders release down. And then just bend your elbows and bring your fingertips to touch the top of your shoulders. And as you exhale, bring your elbows forward to come towards each other. And when you inhale, let them come back out wide. And then again, exhaling, bringing the elbows forward and towards each other. And as you inhale, come back. And then one more time, exhaling, bringing those elbows forward. And on the inhale, open back. And now see if your right elbow can go up and your left elbow can go down. You're just leaning over a little bit. And then we'll come back up to the top and we'll go the other way. And then again, come on back up to the top and unfold your arms on again. And shake out your hands. And we're going to come on around towards hands and knees. Excuse me, if you prefer to be on your chair, use it. If you prefer to be down on the floor, but you need a blanket underneath your knees, use a blanket so that you're feeling okay with your knees, right? Sometimes it's not a good idea to have your knees down in the hard floor. And same thing for wrists. Come on to fist if you need to, right? Or use a blanket under your hands if that makes your wrist feel better. And then just take your time. Drop your head for a second. Kind of look back behind yourself. And then let your chin turn one way and then the other. center. Let it feel really easy to feel your head hang a little there. And we're going to start to move through our cat-cow. So on your next exhale, drawing up into your cat pose. Feel that tailbone releasing downward. Feel equal through your hands. And on your next inhale, send your tailbone back and up, moving on back through into your cow. So exhale, tailbone draws up under you, rolling up through the spine, really feeling that sense of flexibility in your spine. Inhale, move your way back through. Now, start moving with your own breath here, with your own timing. So feeling like the breath is just allowing you to flow through your back, waking it up. Imagine your head as a part of your spine, really. So that when you move sequentially through and you get to the top there, the head just goes right to where it wants to go in these poses. Finish off the one you're on. And then we'll come back to more neutral spine. And let's step our left foot forward and our right foot back and find our first lunge here. So, you can use any support you want. Hands can be on blocks, high, middle, or low, or the floor, or you can use a chair. And you can be up even higher if you have a chair at home and you want to be up on the back of the chair instead of down on the seat of the chair. Take your time. Let yourself feel that. Good. And we're going to switch and go to the other side. So whether you like to step forward or back, take your time to come to that other side. Feel the feet gently pressing away from each other here now. Find that length through the back of your body. Good, and we're going to switch again. Good, so keep pressing the feet gently away from each other. If you decide you want to put your forearm, your left forearm or your left hand up above your knee there on your thigh, you can. If not, keep both your hands down. It's fine. And we're going to switch again. So again, really get stable there in the lunge. Press the feet away from each other. And if you want to rise your right hand or your forearm up onto your thigh, you can. Good. And then we'll come on down with our hands so we can step forward, coming on into standing forward bend. So be mindful of your feet. So take your time, put your hands where you want, and walk a little bit. Bend one knee at a time. When you bend your knee, lift the heel up as you walk through your forward bend a little bit. So as you feel that heel lift, you just easily walk a little bit. Good. And then once you get back into center now, let the knees soften a bit. Feel your sitting bones over your heels. Whatever support you need, whether you want to put your elbows above your knees or you want to put your hands on your blocks or your chair. Just release now into those nice, full, deep breaths. Feeling the expansion of the ribs as you inhale. Good. One more breath. And then we'll bring our hands to our hips. We'll bend our knees and rise up to standing and inhale our arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, let our hands come right down to be in front of our chest. Let yourself look at your feet a little bit here. Walk a little bit in place. Get easy with how far apart you have your feet. Pretty parallel, remember. And then bringing the hands softly together and starting to let your gaze come on forward, whether your eyes are opened or closed, looking on out like you're looking through the wall towards where the horizon would be. If you need to still adjust a little bit, shift around a little, do. Good. And as you feel your feet equal in the floor, on your next exhale, bring your chin down. Let yourself release through the back of the neck there. Just feel the weight of the head. And then as you inhale, rise your head on back up. And now as you exhale, turn your head to look to the left, like you're looking towards the left without your shoulders moving, just your head. And then come on back into center. And then as we exhale, we're going to turn to look to the right. And then release on back into center again. And let's unfold our arms on down beside us and inhale both arms all the way out. Mountain with arms overhead. You can stay in a wide V. You can bring your hands more directly over your shoulders. Just try not to let the shoulders lift up by your ears. And now on your next inhale, if it feels good to look up, do. But just be mindful. Try not to let yourself feel your tailbone curl under you. Reach your tailbone like it's reaching between your feet. And then as you exhale, bend the knees and come forward into your standing forward bend. Let your next inhale help you find a nice long back. And we'll step our right foot back to find lunge. Good. And inhale. Exhale into your downward facing dog pose, whether you decide to use blocks or the floor or the chair. And hug your elbows a little towards each other and let yourself walk a little bit in your dog. Bend a knee at a time. Now, if you can, think about the back of your head being in line with your spine, right? So you're not lifting your chin up and looking towards your hands, but you're also not tucking your chin, right, and letting yourself look back. But instead, you want to get that sense of the back of the head being in line. And then come on to your full dog. Let your next inhale bring you out to your plank. Nice and strong plank. Doesn't matter whether you need to come down to forearms or put your knees down and do a half plank. If you like little push-ups, you can bend your elbows and let yourself move a little bit more into the biceps and the shoulders by bending your elbows. And then we'll come on back into down dog. Reaching equally through your sit bones so you feel equal through the sides of your body. And we'll bring the right foot forward here to come into lunge. And then coming on back into standing forward bend. Feet right underneath you. Nice full deep breath. Now you may want a little higher support on this. That's up to you. We're going to bring our left foot a little more to the midline and cross our right ankle in front of our left ankle. And your toes are facing forward of both feet, right? So you may be, more weight is in the back foot generally, and you may not be all the way down with your big toe mound of your right foot, but kind of endeavor to feel the four corners of the feet reaching into the floor. And then just breathe here. Give that back leg time to open up through the outer hip, down the outside of your leg, and the back of the legs, obviously. Good. One more breath. And then we're going to uncross, and we'll switch. So the right foot comes more to the midline. The left ankle comes in front of the right. Again, toes are facing pretty much forward. You know, if you need to bend your knees, do. And if it helps to come up higher, this can get really intense, really, after just a few breaths. So don't force it. Let the knees soften if you need to. Feel your breaths. Follow your breaths all the way in and out. Good. One more breath. And then we'll uncross and bring our feet again, hips distance apart and parallel. A couple more breaths in your standing forward bend here. And then we'll bend our knees, press into our feet equally. We'll rise on up and inhale the arms out and up overhead. And on the exhale, bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. And let's unfold our arms. Bring your hands behind you and clasp your hands. Now, bend your elbows quite a bit. And for a second, squeeze your palms towards each other. So you're really squeezing your palms together. You can feel your fingers really pressing into each other too there. Let yourself feel your biceps engage. Good. One more breath here. And then let the arms come longer. Let the palms come apart. You're still interlaced with your fingers. And when you inhale, let the hands come a little away from your back. And when you exhale, inhale, letting the hands come a little away. Exhale, letting them come back. One more time, letting yourself open up through the chest here. And now, once the hands are down, take a nice inhale. And on the exhale, bend your knees and come on forward. Now, you don't have to go any farther than parallel to the floor or even up higher if you want. You can stay with that flat back. You may decide to lift your arms off your back there, or you may want to fold forward and let your arms come off your back, your hands come away from your back there. Depends on your shoulders. Don't even have to have the hands come off. One more breath. And then we'll release the arms on down. Let your next inhale help you find a nice long flat back wherever you put your hands, on your chair, on your blocks, on your legs. And we'll step the left foot back here and come into lunge. Press the feet away from each other. Draw your shoulders down. Inhale. Exhale into your downward facing dog pose. So your choice of where your hands are, and you know that. So be mindful of your own shoulders. Elbows hug towards each other. Next inhale is going to bring us out to plank. And again, you are more than welcome to bend your elbows. You're welcome to stay in your plank or half plank. Come onto forearms to a forearm plank. Feel your sitting bones reaching down towards your heels and engage your belly. Good. We're going to come on back into down dog from here. And we will bring the left foot forward to find lunge. You know you can put your right knee down if you need to get into that lunge again. And let's come on back into standing forward bend. If you are okay to let your hands hold your own elbows, go for it so that you can maybe get a little bit more feeling of traction there. But obviously that is not for everybody. If it bothers your back, don't do it. One more nice full deep breath. And now feel your feet on the floor equally. Bend the knees a little bit. We're going to rise on up to standing and inhale the arms all the way out and up overhead. And on the exhale, as our hands come down, we're going to shift back to a little chair pose. So sit back, and you may be wanting to sit in a really high chair. You don't have to go low. You can decide if you want to go lower, that you're about to sit back in that chair, letting the torso come a little forward. Good. One more breath here. Maybe bring your gaze about 6 to 8 feet in front of you, just so you get a little bit of uplift here in the front of the body. On the next exhale, we're going to fold on forward into that standing forward bend. And on your next inhale, find that nice long back. And we're going to come into down dog. So again, you use the height you like for your hands. You may decide the chair feels better, the floor feels better, or blocks. And then on the next inhale, we'll come out to plank. Optional back bend here. So you can come to the floor and come to a sphinx if you'd rather. You can let yourself come on through with the chest and stay in your plank. And then we'll make our way back again into downward facing dog pose. And we're going to do that same thing again. Next inhale will bring us out towards a plank. You can come down all the way to the floor. You can come to a back bend or not, and your choice of what kind if you decide to do a back bend. Just be mindful. Good, and then we'll come on back again into downward facing dog pose. And we'll bring our right foot forward this time, coming on into lunge. And all the way back into standing forward bend. Right to your breath. Feel the ribs expand. Let your hands go wherever feels comfortable for you. And then be with your breath. Really staying focused on your breath all the way through the end of your inhales, that little pause, all the way through to the end of the exhales, that little pause. So just really feel connected to your own breathing. One more full, complete, deep breath. And then we're going to rise on up, bend the knees, press into the feet equally. Coming on up, inhale the arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, bringing our hands down together in front of our hearts. So take your time. If you need to shift around a little bit, sway a little bit, or adjust anything at all, do. Letting your hands come to your heart, bringing your gaze on forward and out, feeling like you're stacked up, really. Your hips over your ankles, shoulders over your hips. Feel evenly distributed, really, between your feet. And just imagine you're symmetrical, which none of us are, of course, but imagine that you're symmetrical from right to left so that you feel very balanced and easy. And then we'll unfold our arms on down beside us and shake everything out just a little bit. If you need to walk around, do. We're going to come into some warriors. We'll do warrior 1 first. So if you're using your chair, you might want to turn it around and have your blocks handy here so that you have them at the front of your mat if you need them. And we'll first step the right foot back and come into warrior 1, that front-facing warrior, so facing the shoulders square towards the front of the mat. How long of a stance you take, totally up to you. Just be really mindful that you're okay in that back foot. Heel is turned in a little bit, so the foot's about a 20 or 30 degree angle. See if you can bring your arms behind you. Fold your forearms in towards your low back for a second. Now engage your belly here. So make sure you're not leaning back, right? Putting pressure into the low back. You're engaging the belly. You're also not leaning forward right now. You're just got your shoulders right there over your hips. See if you can imagine really letting your breath come into those 3 parts. Inhaling into the belly, into the ribs, and up into your chest. And then we'll unfold our arms beside us. And as we inhale this time, we're going to rise the arms out and up overhead. And when we exhale, we're going to lower the arms on back down beside us. So inhaling, rising the arms up. Now you can touch fingertips together if you want to up there. And then when you exhale, lowering the arms back down again beside you. Now if you want to add your gaze, when you inhale and the arms come up, you can even look up to where your fingertips touch up there, or maybe they don't. And exhale, let the hands come back down. One more time. Inhaling, rising the arms up overhead. Now this time, clasp your hands together, interlace your fingers, send your pointer finger up. Hug your elbows in towards your head a little bit. And then see if you can imagine the elbows just rising up a little bit higher here. Now it's up to you. You can stay right here. You can come into straighter arms, feeling still the elbows hugging in. You can really feel how your arms almost grow out of your back when you come into the pose this way. Feet equal in the floor. One more breath. And then release the arms on down. We're going to bring the hands behind us and we're going to bow forward. Now, as you do, you might just want to bow your head and let your shoulders come forward. Some of you may want to fold over that inner leg and go way over, even letting your arms release up off your back like we did when we were standing forward bend before. One more breath. And then bring your hands on down to the blocks of the floor of the chair. We're going to find lunge, releasing that right heel now. To find your full lunge, so we can add a twist, left hand on up to the left hip and turning into looking towards your left. You can have your hand down on your back. You can stretch that left arm up if you choose. If your shoulder feels like doing that, more than fine to keep the hand down. One more breath. And then we're going to release and bring our hand back down. And we're going to step forward and come on into standing forward bend, feet underneath us. Couple of nice breaths here. Let your head maybe nod or shake a little bit so you release and feel that weight of your head, letting go of your neck, your face, your jaw relaxed. And then we'll press into our feet, rise on up to standing, and inhale the arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, bring our hands together in front of our hearts. We're going to come into that little chair pose again. Sit back. Again, instead of looking straight down, bring your gaze out in front of you just a little bit so you have that uplift in the front of your body. Feel your thighs engaged, your hips. Good. One more breath here. And then we'll rise on back up again and shake out a little bit. Move around a little. We're going to go the other side. So again, take your time. As you step your left foot back and you get your shoulders around square to that front of your mat here. Remember, you want to be mindful of that back knee and the back hip. So your feet might be kind of like a little apart, like you're on narrow railroad tracks, or you might have your heels like in a line, and that's possible for you. And then from here, again, release your arms behind you. Fold your forearms if you can. I mean, you can hold your elbows if you can get that far, but you don't have to. You can hold wrist or whatever works. Now, feel your shoulders over your hips. Start to breathe into those three parts. Inhaling into the belly, into the ribs, all the way up into your chest. Really enjoy feeling those full, deep breaths in and out. And then we'll release our arms down beside us. We're going to inhale the arms all the way out and up overhead. And on the exhale, we'll lower them back down beside us. And again, inhaling. If you want to touch the fingertips, you do. If you want to start to add the focus in, you can. Exhaling, lowering down. So if you want to look up when you inhale and let the hands come up, you can. On the exhale, we'll lower them back down again. And inhale, rising the arms up. This time, once they get up there, clasp your hands, send your pointer finger up. Hug your elbows in, bent a little bit. And then see if you can imagine the elbows rising up a little higher. Now, you got to really feel the belly engaging. And if you want to come into straighter arms, you can. Totally up to you. See if you can imagine your arches of both feet are lifting up right now. Good. One more inhale up the front of the body. Exhale down the back of the body. And then as we release our arms on down beside us, we're going to clasp our hands and fold forward. And again, you may not want to go far. You may want to step really high. That uses the core a lot. If you do fold over, you draw the belly in, right? And if you want your arms to come off your back, you can let them, or you can keep your hands down. One more breath. And then we'll lower our hands on down to blocks or the chair or the floor. We're going to find a lunge. So take your time as you get into that lunge, because remember, we're going to add that twist. Right hand on up to the right hip. And coming into your twist, hand to the back, low back, or rising that right arm straight on up from your shoulder if that feels good to you. Lengthening out through the top of your head, reaching back into your inner left heel. And then we'll release to bring the hand on back down. We're going to step forward. Come on into standing forward bend. Get your feet set there. Let your head turn a little side to side. And then be with your breaths, full deep breaths. Feel that weight of your torso, just helping the backs of the legs to come a little more easily into opening up. And then we'll bring our hands to our hips. We're going to rise on up and inhale the arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. Find your mountain pose, whatever you need to do that. And bring your gaze on out. Eyes opened or closed, doesn't matter. See if you can just pretend for a second that you're breathing in and out through every pore of your skin. So like your body would be immediately refreshed if you were breathing in and out through your skin. And then we'll go ahead and unfold our arms on down beside us and move around a little bit again. Shake it out if you need to. And we're going to come into Warrior Two this time. So let yourself have your blocks forward if you need them. Right foot steps back. Line up your heels now for your Warrior Two. Bend into that front knee. And then take your time. Let your hands, your fingertips, come to touch the tops of your shoulders. And then let your elbows really melt down. All right? Do you feel when you do that? Lift them up again for a second. And then when you melt your elbows down, you feel like, oh my gosh, the sides of my neck get even longer. It feels so good. Let yourself just release. Turn your head to look to the left here. And then unfold your arms all the way down, hands towards your thighs. Turn the palms down and rise those arms on up and out into Warrior Two arms, pressing the feet gently away from each other. looking right out over the top of that left hand. Beautiful. Let's bring our right hand to our right hip, straighten our left leg out, and come into triangle pose, bringing that left hand down. You may want to put it right on the back of the chair. You may decide to come down your leg and let your hand slide down. Feel your torso extend out over that left leg. Adding that top arm is optional. Remember, you can use a block underneath your hand as well. Thighs engage up. If you've got that right arm reaching up from the shoulder, you may even want to think of turning to look up at your hand. One more breath. And then we're going to bend that front knee. You might want to look down at that knee as you rise on back into Warrior Two now, pressing the feet away from each other. We're going to bring our hands down and turn our feet more parallel. And come on for that wide-legged forward bend. So you all know, grab blocks if you want them. And then once you get your hands down to whatever surface you want to use there, bend your right knee. Now, if this bothers your knee, don't do it. And see if you can walk your hands to the left a little bit. You're not going towards the left foot. You're out away from it, but you're bringing yourself over towards that straighter leg. Just feeling a little bit more on the inside of the leg there. And then we'll come back to center with the hands. We're going to bend the left knee and see if you can walk your hands or your blocks, whatever, all the way over, but out away from you to the right. Feel a little bit more in your inner right thigh. Good. And then come on back into center. And then if you're able to here, bend both your knees and put your elbows above your knees so that you give yourself support. You're in this squat. You've got a nice long back here. And then release your hands down either to the blocks if you'd rather, or you may want to put your hands on the floor. And you can decide if you can walk your hands back more towards between your feet or not. That's up to you and your back. Keep your hands forward, keep your back lengthened if that's better for you. And then just breathe. That's all you need to do. Let the pose do the work for you. Just let your breaths come in and out so that you're watching the breaths all the way in and out. Letting them feel even. Like your inhales and exhales are equally important. One more full deep breath. And now you know, before you rise up, you do what you need. So if you need your feet to come a little more together before you get up, do. And if you're dizzy, be really mindful. You know, take your time before you walk your feet together if you need to. Hold on to something if you need to. And move through. And we're going to come to the other side with that Warrior Two. So have your blocks handy again there. Have your chair turned the way you like it. And line up those heels. Let yourself come into that Warrior Two very easily there. Really line up that right knee too. Make sure you've got it not coming inward, but it's out over the center of your foot. Bringing the fingertips to the tops of the shoulders again. And lift the elbows up for a second so you feel almost like you're shortening the sides of your neck. And then let the elbows melt down. And then it's like, it's almost like you're kind of pulling a little bit with your hands too, elongating the muscles here. And then we'll unfold the arms, down, 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 down to the thighs, and then turn the arms right on up and out. Reaching equally back through the left fingertips and forward through the right. Good. Feeling very equal between your feet, all the way up into your hips. And we'll bring our left hand to our left hip. We're going to straighten the right leg out and bring the right hand down for triangle. Now you can go higher, you can go lower. Remember, if you have two blocks there, you can stack your blocks up so that you have support there, either in front of or behind your foot. And you can add your left arm straight up, or you can keep the hand down, right? Again, you may feel like if there was a wall in front of your left hand and you pushed into the wall a little bit, it may enable you to turn to look up at your hand and let it feel really good. If it doesn't feel good, though, don't do it. So one more breath. And then we're going to bend that right knee. We're going to come on back into Warrior Two, pressing the feet away from each other as we come. And now letting our hands come down, we're going to turn for that wide-legged forward bend. So again, if you need your blocks, put them in front of you, do that. And then this time, go ahead and take your own time to bend a knee at a time so that you ease your way into releasing whatever feels good to you there. And then release, come on back into center. And once again, whether you decide to stay with your hands in front of you with your back long, or you feel like you want to walk your hands back either to between your feet or to hold your own ankles. Some of you may even want to put your hands up on your back and clasp your hands and do that same arms coming off the back that we've been focusing on a bit today. So if that feels good in this pose, sometimes this is the easiest pose for the arms to do this. So just be where you can. Be with your breath. And one more nice, full, deep breath. And then to come up again, take your time. Do what you need to do before you rise on up to standing. And bring your feet together however you want to. Shake it out again. Move around a little bit. Good. We're going to bring our mats into a wall. We have room because, Donna, you be there. And you're there, we're all set. Good. And come in to turn to face the wall. Bring everything with you. We're staying. All right. And we're going to come into hands to the wall, walking back to a down dog. Just for a minute. So you lengthen out your spine. Right. So if this hurts your wrist, do fists. If you need to stay up higher, do. But just find this long back. Because picture, you're going to use this in a second, right? You're reaching back through your tailbone. And then walk towards the wall again and turn around and grab your blocks. Now you can use a chair seat too if you're at home and a chair seat's better. Because we're going to think about coming into Warrior 3 with our right foot back towards the wall. Now if you don't want to put your foot on the wall, don't put your foot on the wall. So we're turned away from the wall. And we're going to put our foot into the wall. And if you're like, no, I'm not putting my foot in the wall, that's fine. You can do this freestanding, right? Just bringing yourself into the right toes facing down. If your foot is in the wall, push into that foot at the wall. And imagine you're trying to draw that foot up towards the ceiling. And there's a lot of engagement right there. If your hamstring or your supporting leg is screaming at you, I totally get it. You can bend your knee a little bit. That's fine. Now, some of you may be able to bring your left hand on up to your hip. Some of you may want to think about bringing both hands up off the blocks. You can bring your hands up to your heart, or you can reach your arm forward, your right arm forward, or your left arm forward, or play with both arms reaching forward. And then we're going to release, put that foot down, and we're going to go right away to the other side because it'll feel like the hugest relief ever. So again, the foot that's at the wall or back behind you, if you've got it on the wall, push into the wall and imagine you're trying to draw it up towards the ceiling. Hello. Yep, that's the easiest one. You can try to think about both hands coming up, hands to the heart. That really takes a lot of pushing in back there onto the wall. Good. Good hip and leg work. One more breath. And then let yourself release. You can squat however you want here. You can always walk back to the wall and sit like this. You can come down like a lot of you in here are, coming all the way down into a squat if you want. And if your body doesn't squat, don't. It's knees and hips. So you can stay elbows above the knees like we do here too. It's another way to release. Good. And then we're going to come on up. We're going to turn back to face the wall again, and we're going to come into like a plank. So we'll have our hands to the wall. Oh, you can do fists. So if your wrists bother you, you can do these push-ups to the wall with fist or with flat hands. But try to keep your body really like a plank, right? You don't want to sink the belly towards the wall. You're not doing a back bend, but you don't want to send your bottom back and break there either. So there's that long line here. Now, don't go all the way to the wall. Bend your elbows just a little bit. Imagine you have a beach ball. You're holding it there. Come halfway to the wall. And there's a lot of work right there. And then you can come out. So rather than the elbows going out, like in traditional push-ups, see if you can keep the elbows coming in. And then you press back up. Now, you can go all the way to the wall if you want. More power to you. Let yourself come into just 3 or 4 more. Just enough to know you're really working your arms. Your triceps are working really big here. Try to keep strong in the belly so you're not sinking that belly in towards the wall. Good. Nice. So finish off the one you're on. And then step in towards the wall. Turn your right shoulder towards the wall. Get in really close to the wall. And then rise your right arm up and bend your right elbow. So you're coming into releasing your tricep here. Now you might have to step away from the wall. Or you may even need to bring your elbow forward. It has to do with your shoulders here. You can put your left hand behind you and let the palm face out on your low back there if that feels okay to that left shoulder. Or you can think of sending your hands towards each other. If you keep your gaze forward, you can really feel how you're not allowing that roundness in the upper back, which as we age tends to want to happen. Let's face it. So if you, like at home, had a towel, get out of the shower, and every night you hold on to a towel just like this on your back, it will help tremendously over a little bit of time. So one more breath here. And then we'll step away from the wall, bring our arms on down. We're just going to turn around and get our left shoulder to the wall, rise our left arm up. Bend our left elbow. Again, you got to do what you got to do. Step away or let the elbow come forward. Right hand behind you. You can just rest the hand on the low back or the forearm, or you can start sending the hands towards each other on your back, keeping your gaze forward. See if you can imagine that you're breathing through your heart right now, which gives you the sense of really opening through the chest here. Good. One more breath. And then come on down. Turn your back to the wall. Walk your feet out just a little ways. And you can bend your knees as much as you want, but bring your left arm over your right. Give yourself a hug. And then see if you can kind of come a little bit forward. So it's like you're doing a chair pose, but you got your bottom right on the wall, right? Now you can stay hugging right here. Let the shoulders release, or you can come into that eagle wrap, sending the backs of the hands towards each other, or even coming into letting your right fingers come to your left palm if you like that final little twist. Don't do it if it's too much. And if your leg starts to tell you, oh my goodness, come back up to the wall. That gives you a little bit of a break too. So one more breath. And then come on back up. Unwind your arms. We're going to switch. If your legs are going, oh, good grief, straighten them out a little bit. You know, that gives a break. And then you can bend them again if you want. And maybe you can come a little forward with that long back. And if you want to send the hands into that eagle wrap, you can, or your half eagle wrap. Nice breath. Nice. And then we'll rise back up, unfold our arms. Bring your hands behind you now. Clasp your hands. Walk your feet out just a little ways. And imagine there's a string attached to your chest. It's drawing it. The string is being drawn forward towards where the wall meets the ceiling opposite you. And then just let yourself open up there. Your head's relaced into the wall. Let it feel good. Good. And then we're going to release on forward, and we're going to come down onto our mats on the floor. And I'm going to leave mine turned this way, but you guys are going to sit with your legs forward. So if you need a blanket to sit on, grab one. Have your blocks right there beside your legs, all right? So sit up on a block if you need to, or a blanket that's on a block, whatever helps. Classic seated forward bend. Another thing is if you know you're really tight, your hamstrings are tight, your low back's tight, you can always roll up a blanket and put it underneath your knees like this, so that when you do think about coming forward, you do get forward motion there. You're still stretching your back and your hamstrings, but it's not like excruciatingly painful, right? So take your time. Feel your inner thighs kind of melting down towards the ground. Heels are on the ground. Knees can be bent or supported, right? And then take your hands to those blocks and let the blocks just slide a little bit forward. You can be any height you want on these blocks, right? You can turn them however you want. Let the heels come onto the floor, draw them back towards you. You may decide, oh, I want the blocks to go further out there, and I want to reach for them because it feels good. So take your time. It's just a little gimmick. If you have the blocks and it feels good, you can keep your hands on it. If you'd rather reach over to get your feet, your toes, or to rest your hands on top of your legs, do that. And then just breathe. So I'm looking up at everybody, but you certainly don't want to do that with your neck and kind of break the back of the neck there. Instead, either let your head hang or keep your head in line with your spine. Good. One more breath. And then we'll come on up. And you may want your blocks for this too. We're going to bring the soles of the feet towards each other. Now, you can have your feet way out here making a diamond shape here. It's fine. Especially if you know your knees are up like this because that's the way your hips are built. You might be better off to use that support, but to have your feet out further. So you got to find what works for you as you bring yourself into sitting up nice and tall, imagining your knees just reaching away from each other. And you can decide if coming forward is in your body to do, right? You don't have to. You can stay up. You can have your hands even behind you like this to hold you up a little bit. Or you can make your way forward and think of coming into releasing, again, that sense of knees are reaching away and you have inner thigh stretch going on there. So don't force it. Just be where you can. Be with your breaths. Good. One more breath. And then we'll release to come up. And use your hands to help you bring your knees on back up. Stretch your legs on out again. And move through your feet and your ankles a little bit. And we're going to come on down onto our backs on the floor. So as you do, be mindful. Let yourself just release and come down. Bend the knees. Bring your knees on in towards your chest a little bit. And let the knees come side to side if that helps your back release. Or circle if you'd rather circle. And then bring your feet on down to the floor, like for bridge pose, right? And from here, bring your arms down alongside your body, right? Now, really close in and see how far it depends on how long your arms are too, right? My arms are really not very long in relation to my torso, but see if you can reach your heels. So that's kind of a different feeling for some of us for bridge pose. To play a little bit, bend the elbows now. Keep your feet where they are. Bend the elbows. Do your robot arms. Palms face each other. Press into the backs of the arms. See if you can lift your chin up a little bit. Imagine you're kind of releasing to the back of the top of your head. So you're opening your throat just a little bit here. Keep pressing into the arms. And then release and come back down. A little variation of a fish pose. If it bothers you, don't do it. If you want to do it again, press into your arms, kind of slide up to the top of the back of the head. Let your throat open up a little bit there. And then we'll come on back down. Let your knees just drift a little side to side here now. And now we will set up for a bridge pose. So you arrange how far you want your feet now from the buttocks there. So feet are parallel, a little wider than mountain. And then whether you bend your elbows or keep your arms straight, press into the backs of the arms and float on up. Roll your shoulders under once you get up into your bridge pose. Imagine you're feeling the back of your head releasing into the ground. So you don't want your chin to come way into your chest like that, but you don't want to lift up like we just did to the back of your head, to the top of your head. You're just right there easily. So your quads are engaging, right? But there is no sense of compression in your low back. You can stretch your arms long. Some of you may want to clasp your hands underneath you with long arms and roll your shoulders under more. You know, come down whenever you choose to. If you feel like you're forcing bridge pose, like you're creating tension, then just come down and rest. You can also grab a block and be on a block in supported bridge and let yourself release there. And so remember, just be mindful of how you feel. Everybody's feet are very well placed. So you're parallel with your feet, and again, you feel this more in your quads than anywhere else, really. Good. So now when you're ready to come down, be mindful if you're on the block especially, come on down, bring your knees on in towards your chest and separate your knees a little bit, send your feet up and come into a little happy baby pose. Maybe you want to roll a little bit side to side. Maybe you want to reach up and get your feet. Take your time. And then we'll come on back. Let's bring our left leg down long on the floor. Bring our right knee into our chest. And then cross your left hand over to your right knee. Stretch your right arm out beside you and draw that knee over to the left, coming into a twist as far as you want to. Barely reach over the midline. You can keep your right hip down or you can release the right hip off the floor. Just be mindful. Enjoy the right shoulder releasing into the floor here now. And then come on back into center. And we're going to switch to bring our left knee into our chest. And bring yourself right hand across to that left knee. And start to reach that leg across the midline. Again, you can stay really low. You don't have to go deep in a twist. Let that left shoulder stay released down into the floor. Take your time. One more breath. And now gently let yourself come on back into center. Bring both knees up and in. Do whatever your body desires to do right now. So you know, if the idea of moving in another way, another pose sounds good, you're going to let yourself do it. And that could be anything. Anything that you need to do that's going to help you be more relaxed. As we start to get ready to think about coming into Shavasana, our final relaxation pose. I have blankets bolsters. I'll start to walk around here in the studio, and those of you at home, you want to do the same thing. You want to get what you need to be comfortable. You're a little cockeyed there, Miss Catherine, but as long as you're comfortable. I got you. I got you too. So wave at me if the idea of a bolster sounds good. You know, be easy about how you have your head placed. So if you need a little bit of a support underneath the back of your head to give that length for the back of your throat, use it. And just settle in now. Let yourself enjoy feeling where you connect to the ground. Not all parts of the body are touching the floor. You can appreciate all the curves in your body. Feeling that support of the ground as you come now to be with your breath. Just releasing into that wave of your breaths in and out. And give yourself the gift of these few minutes. Allowing your body and your brain to benefit however they need from all you just did. And allow yourself to completely and fully relax. yourself start to become aware of the ground, supporting you again, that firmness of the floor. Allowing your breaths to gradually deepen and lengthen. And just allow yourself to feel the breath refreshing you, really, bringing you back into wanting to move. Starting with your fingers, your toes, your hands, your feet. You may want to move up into stretching your arms and legs or bending, bringing your knees in towards your chest. Just take your time. Come back to letting the body move naturally, easily. Whether you stay on your back or you decide to roll onto either your right or your left side, if that's comfortable, you can come into a soft fetal position on one side, using your arm as a pillow. Just be easy so that when you do feel ready to rise up, it feels like the next natural thing to come to be upright again and get comfortable in the way you're sitting so that your hips feel good. Do whatever you need, stretch your legs or sit cross-legged and just lengthen up with your eyes gently closed. Feel that sense of space in your spine, openness through your shoulders, across your chest. And then come back to your breaths, in and out. And on your next exhale, bring your hands gently to meet there in front of your chest, in front of your own heart. And wishing each one of you a very joyful day. Namaste. Happy Monday, everybody.